You're an expert immunologist, and not only do you talk about short-term stress can be helpful and beneficial, but in terms of the immune response, talk about how short-term stress impacts the immune system and how that may be beneficial to us.
So our immune system is I just think, a beautiful, amazing, intelligent, adaptable defense force. I'm sure you appreciate that too. So we specifically define short-term or acute stress as that which induces changes that last for minutes to hours in duration. So how does the short-term stress response enhance the immune system? At the very beginning of a short-term stress response, say within a few minutes after the stress response begins, you see a large increase in immune cell numbers in the blood. So immune cell numbers in the blood increase. Taking a little bit of poetic license, I describe this as the body's soldiers leaving their barracks, which is organs like the spleen, the marginated pool, and the bone marrow, and entering the body's boulevards, okay, the bloodstream. Approximately 30 to 60 minutes after the stress response has started, one observes a large decrease in numbers of immune cells in the blood. Now, before our studies, many people believed that this decrease was further evidence that stress is necessarily bad or harmful, that stress was suppressing immune function by decreasing the numbers of immune cells or soldiers in our bodies. However, if you think about it, you wonder, why would an organism, including humans, invest so much time, energy, and resources into building exquisite, powerful immune defense systems, only to destroy those defense forces during times of stress or trouble? Keep in mind that many times of trouble or stress also happen to be times when an organism is likely to need its immune system to protect it from wounding and infection, which often occur during stressful situations. And this suggests that Mother Nature would want to enhance an immune response under short-term stress conditions rather than suppress it. So with this reasoning in mind, we hypothesize that the short-term stress-induced decrease in numbers of immune cells that we saw in the blood may not represent a net destruction or loss of cells from the body, but instead may represent the fact that the immune system soldiers, the body's soldiers, are now leaving the boulevards, they're leaving the blood vessels, and taking up positions in the body where there could be potential battlefields. And then we identified that the skin and lymph nodes are target organs, are some target organs to which those immune cells traffic during short-term stress. But we also conducted studies then to see whether immune function was indeed enhanced in compartments like the skin to which the cells trafficked, and we found that that was indeed the case.
Us as individuals, can we minimize bad stress responses and optimize good stress responses?
So based on our studies, we have developed the concept of the stress spectrum that says that for good mental and physical health, we need to minimize chronic or bad stress. We need to optimize short-term or good stress, and we need to maximize our green zone of low or no stress. So how do you do this? Briefly, we have proposed that we have to work on and harness three banks of factors while we do this. Okay? The first bank of factors consists of lifestyle factors, and these are sleep, nutrition, and exercise or physical activity. The second bank of factors, consists of psychosocial factors. So these are factors such as appraisal, coping, perspective. Let's just take appraisal, for example. So you're driving on the highway and someone cuts you off. And this is where your appraisal and perspective come in. I'm not even going to let my stress response begin over this little thing. And then the third bank of factors represents activities that you could engage in. Now, most of the time when you think about stress reduction, you think about the activities, and that's very important. But it's important to remember that we have deliberately proposed a model where we say it's lifestyle, psychosocial factors, and the activities. And the activities can be things such as mindfulness, meditation, yoga. The factors don't have to be contemplative. It could be dance, music, singing, engaging with art, nature, being in the outdoors, going for a walk. All those activities can be helpful. And the one thing that I'll take a minute to explain is that be open to your stress-reducing activity being something that you might not expect. And for me, I found out several years ago that teaching was part of it. In many ways, there's so many benefits because I love being with my students. I love interacting with people, that there's a tremendous sort of stress balancing in a strange way that goes on for me with that. And I love to tell my students, just be excited by the beauty of biology. Let yourself be amazed.